Well, a California judge blocking the Trump administration's policy that forces asylum seekers to stay in Mexico while their cases play out in court. Since Congress refuses to act, how can President Trump be expected to protect American citizens? Joining us now is President of the National Border Patrol Council, Brandon Judd. Brandon, always great to have you with us.
Thanks, Heather. Appreciate it.
As we begin our conversation, let's take a look at one of President Trump's tweets on this policy. He says a Ninth Circuit judge just ruled that Mexico is too dangerous for migrants, so unfair to the U.S., out of control. So what do you think about this decision?
It's completely ridiculous. If you look at the judicial activism that's taking place in the United States because of partisan politics, the courts were never supposed to be partisan. They're not supposed to rule in favor of a specific party, but that's what you're seeing in the Ninth Circuit. But what makes this decision so head-scratching is we can do this in Canada. We have no problem that the courts have ruled that it's perfectly legal to allow us to keep people in Canada pending their asylum claims. We should allow that to be that should be allowed to happen in Mexico as well. This idea that there's too much violence in Mexico, until the State Department comes out and makes a ruling on that, that judge had absolutely no standing to make that decision. So this is going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to be won at the Supreme Court, and so we shouldn't be scared to take actions like the MPP just because a judge in the Ninth Circuit is going to rule against it.
That's interesting that you point out that it's allowed with Canada, because we have the ACLU in their statement on what the judge did, and they say, try as it may, the Trump administration cannot simply ignore our laws in order to accomplish its goal of preventing people from seeking asylum in the United States.
You know, we're looking at what's happening right now, and the Supreme Court is going to be the final arbiter on this particular case. We know that the Supreme Court does not rule based upon partisan politics, and so when they're going to look at this, they're going to look at what we're doing in Canada. They're going to look at what we have to do on the southwest border. The other thing that they're going to take into consideration, I believe, is the particular crisis that we're facing right now. And because these people are able to exploit the asylum loopholes to continue to come here and continue to go on the catch and release program, the Supreme Court is going to have to act, and I frankly, I believe that they will.
Brandon, let's talk about those numbers, and let's bring them up for people so they can look at a comparison at home. We can compare it to 2018 in terms of asylum applications. Over 161,000 were filed, a little over 13,000 granted, and in just the first quarter through December 31st of 2019, over 46,000 have been filed and over 4,000 have been granted. So basically what this means is that all of these folks who are waiting for a decision are now free to stay here and potentially disappear somewhere in the United States.
Well, the vast majority of them do, in fact, disappear. They don't show up to their asylum hearings. They don't show up to their court appearances. They do what President Obama termed disappear into the shadows of society. We just can't allow that to happen because we continue to build this illegal population in the United States. And again, if we don't get the border security measures that we need, we're going to continue to face this problem.
And Brandon, that ties in with the family separation issue, which is being blamed on Kirsten Nielsen stepping down, retiring, or being fired, one or the other. Just quickly, your thoughts on that.
Well, if you look at what we're facing, when the family separation program went into place, there was a huge drop in illegal crossings. Now, we have to do a better job of obviously tracking where these children are, where the parents are. But right now, we're also facing another phenomenon. Most of these children a lot of these children that are coming in, the people that claim to be the parents aren't even the parents. And so we have to look at this, and we have to do what is right.
And it happened during the Obama administration as well. That's where it began, right?
Yes. We separated family from parents from children during the Obama administration when we were prosecuting the parents. There's no difference. We have to enforce the laws if we expect to get border security.
All right. Brandon Judd joining us live this morning. Thank you, Brandon. We will see what else happens today.
Thanks, Heather.
Thanks.